The TradeIndia.com ET Now SME Conclave, in association with U Broadband, was held at the BSE International Convention Centre in Mumbai recently. The event addressed the singular need for SMEs to thrive in India and further growth on a global scale. In the first episode, we featured a discussion on the path an SME has to tread to achieve growth and success. The second panel discussion focused on the SME investing experience, capturing various elements of the SME investment ecosystem. We now continue the action with the third session of the day. We move on now to our next session, the one that you've all been waiting for, the unveiling of the BSE SME Exchange, where we will demystify it for the audience present. For this session, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Lakshman Gogulot, the CEO of the BSE SME Exchange.
Ladies and gentlemen, at BSE we have vision and wealth creation by the SMEs through inclusive economic growth. This financial inclusion is something which is very much necessary in the country, and SMEs in the coming decades will play a very important role in the growth of Indian economy and in the financial inclusion that can happen in the country. BSE SME platform provides a great opportunity to the entrepreneurs to raise the equity capital for the growth and expansion of SMEs. It provides immense opportunity to the investors to identify and invest in the good SME companies at early stage. It will help unleash the valuation of the company and in the process create wealth for all the stakeholders, including investors, besides considerable long-term capital gain tax benefits and facility to exit at any point of time. We are basically leveraging the existing BSE's infrastructure, network, technology, and presence in more than 600 cities in the country, the entire infrastructure for the BSE SME Exchange. So the scripts that are going to be listed will be trading to BSE's bold system, and they will be in the group called M&MT groups, and it's an integrated exchange concept we have brought so that companies can migrate from here to main exchange, and even small and mid-cap companies that are there on the main exchange can migrate here. The investor of the equity is like a business partner, no burden on the promoter of the company. There is only one-time cost of raising this capital, and there is no servicing like debt year after year, and you don't have to return the principal capital. If the investor is not interested to stay with the company, he can sell to anybody in the market and can take an exit. In the globalized world, in time to come, if SMEs want to make them competitive, they need to go for accessing to equity capital. And second thing, whatever profits they generate, they can plug in to grow even faster. But if they are going for a debt, basically whatever profits are there, most of it you end up paying as an interest to the debt what you have borrowed. A brief on how this SME exchange is formulated. It is formulated after a detailed study of the best SME exchanges in the world, like London AIM, Canada T6 Ventures, Hong Kong GEMS, Mothers in Japan, KOSDAQ of Korea, NASDAQ of US, and also a couple of Australian exchange and some other exchanges were also looked into detail to understand their salient features, best practices and exchange model. Learnings from OTCI are incorporated, and the issues and difficulties of the SMEs are also taken into in formulating the regulations for the SME exchange. Thank you very much.
I'm a very strong supporter of SME Exchange. I feel it's going to help the SME in a lot of ways. Every SME aspires to grow and go public. So this is what it's going to solve, one of the problems. Second, which I feel is any SME which wants to grow has to have a good team and build a team. And this will help the team also to unlock value and raise money for themselves. So this should be very helpful for ESOPs of the team.
The binding glue in many ways of the SME ecosystem are the investment bankers and merchant bankers. Central to the growth and success of the exchange, we have a special panel with them talk about their wish list in terms of requirements from the SME exchange. I would now like to invite Damini Kumari, Senior Editor at ET Now, to moderate this panel discussion.
A very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be your moderator this afternoon. So, the investment banker's perspective on the SME exchange and really on the funding requirements of the SME. So, what's the potential here? What are the pitfalls? What are the things that need to be corrected? We'll address all of that on this panel discussion. Let me begin by inviting on stage Mr. Deepak Narayanan, who's Managing Director at Wealthtree. Mr. Chetan Desai, who's Managing Director at Ambit Corporate Finance Private Limited. Mr. Sanjay Gaggar, who's founder and partner at IX CFO. And finally, Mr. Shripal Shah, who's Executive Director at Arjamand Financial Services. Well, gentlemen, welcome to the panel. And I think my first question is going to be to you, Shripal, because you brought to market BCB Finance. First question, how come there's only one company yet that's on this exchange? I would have thought if it's like really the big dream idea, we should have seen more. But before that, what was the experience with this company?
I realized that issue can be done in 3 months. Because as merchant bankers, we're used to companies meeting us today and getting listed a year and a half, 2 years from now. So the SME exchange makes the whole process faster. Secondly, since the process is faster, it allows you to raise money in smaller tranches. Because you know that if you want some more money, you can raise it again. What happens with an IPO per se is, there was itna bada process hai, let us take it to larger size. Let us raise the whole thing at one shot. And then you end up raising more money than you can manage. So that's where the SMEs falter. Today, the main problem with SME fundraising, in my opinion, is they raise more money than they can take care of. Okay, if you're a small company, which is size of 10 crore, and I give you 100 crores, you can't manage it. Because you're not used to that scale. So the SME exchange tells you raise 10 now, you can raise 10 more if you need, because the time gap is smaller. So that is the best part of the exchange, in my opinion. The flip side is the 3-year market making clause, where they've put the merchant bankers in response of the whole thing. So the kind of comfort that has to be there between the management and the merchant banker has to be very good. If I have to work with the management and stay with it for 3 years, it has to be a good management. Otherwise, I don't want to put my own license on the,
on the block, yeah. Well, that's something actually a lot of investors would say, that merchant bankers and investment bankers bring just any and every, when the markets are hot, any issue is good and they'll bring it to market. But when it's down under, suddenly markets have changed, revenues have gone down, and that's when the bankers disappear. So here at least the exchange is going to ensure that the banker doesn't disappear. Yeah. So, that's the positive, but the negative is then maybe the bankers are not going to bring so many companies to the fore. Chetan, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that this SME exchange is a good idea and you would recommend it to smaller companies?
No, it is definitely a good idea. It's a question of saying that when do I go and raise equity capital from public markets? Whether it's a small company or a large company, at what evolution of your company do you go and raise this capital from a public market? Because the public market investor is going to be looking for various levels of performances. And we've seen that in each and every company's evolution, the equity is a very important part of raising. And in an SME, what we have seen, basis our experience, is that initially those equity capital and the debt capital is a very fungible kind of commodity. Because the SME entrepreneur is many a times using his working capital limits to take the risks in the business that he otherwise would like to take with equity capital. But as the business grows, he manages to say that yes, now that internal accruals is my equity into the business. And we believe that there are different stages of bringing in equity capital. After you've done 1 or 2 introductions, whether it's internal accruals or your own money or through an angel investor, that's when you're able to understand the nature of that capital.
You've done a white paper, a lot of research on how alternate investment mechanisms for smaller companies around the world have functioned. What do you think of the exchange and what are the learnings internationally?
If you look at the evolution of several other exchanges globally, including the AIM and the NASDAQ or the COSDAQ, now these exchanges, all these exchanges started as SME exchanges, right? NASDAQ is a clear example of how it started off as a small exchange and how it's grown. It started off as a sector-specific exchange, not even an exchange where all types of companies were listed. Now look at where it is, right? So India is virtually at a stage today where we are not on par with some of the other SME exchanges worldwide, because some of these exchanges have evolved. Just as a statistic, 38 exchanges all over the world, okay, have got SME exchanges. They have got either a full-fledged SME exchange or they have got a tier 2 SME exchange, right? So I think India has got a long way to go. The business models have to evolve, and this is going to happen over a period of time. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. Right. But the good thing is the BSE and the NSE have actually have got the ball rolling. Right? Sure.
The big question again, I think, is really where are the investors going to come from? Because you can open as many exchanges as you want, unless the concept is bought into by investors who at the current point of time are thinking that I only want to be in the top 200 companies in the listed space, because the moment you go to the 251st company, you're not sure about how liquidity is going to turn out when markets turn down. You don't know how the company is going to fare when markets turn down. Clearly it's a far riskier proposition to put money into the really small cap companies. So if that's the mindset right now, what's going to make it change? Sanjay, what's your opinion on this? Because liquidity can only be as good as the amount of money that's flowing in.
I think if you see the evolution of the entire capital market in India and the phases of stock market, and then with this SME exchange, the kind of investors which is flowing in the market today are matured enough. There are informed investors, what I will call.
Does the panel agree with that? That you have informed, mature investors who are willing to put money in small companies?
Definitely.
Chetan?
There are investors. I yet believe that those investors are yet not necessarily ready. And my belief is that as you have the kind of growth that we've had in the last 10 years, and even if you come down to a 6% growth, there'll be a lot of money coming to different pockets like us also, right? And you would essentially start looking at investments.
So my question actually, Sanjay, would be that if indeed there is so much appetite, then why are 3,000 or 3,500 companies in the BSE not being traded today, the ones that are small? Why is it not happening? Because clearly there's value in many of those companies.
I think what has happened over a period is that a lot of these companies have not been evolved with the kind of corporate governance, the kind of standards which you need to set, the kind of transparency which you need to put when you are getting into a listed segment. And let me answer this question from a different perspective, because we are a shared CFO service provider, and we deal with a lot of SMEs. When we go to the SMEs, we see that the kind of the management or the team or the transparency on the governance standard has to be adopted when you go on the exchange, and that to be the informed decision makers is not at all there. And that's one of the reasons why we see those kind of gaps in India.
Let's get an estimate of where do you see the exchange 1 year from now?
See, 1 year is too short a time frame to really test whether this is going to work. And I yet have the point of view that whoever brings the company to the exchange and gets it listed and conducts himself as a transparent mechanism, you don't need to have swanky balance sheet, etc., but you just need to have some simple reporting to say that I'm able to tell to my investors what's happening. And as more and more people start realizing that there is money to make and there is an ability to participate, you'll get that there. I yet believe it's a longer term approach, but it's a very solid foundation to achieve. And as you use the example of NASDAQ, it was a very small thing for technology companies initially. But as those companies grew and everybody realized that you tend to benefit, and yet there is liquidity. Because as of today also, we see in the private sector domain, in the SME space, various people have smaller shareholders. Maybe employees, maybe family who's otherwise not connected with the business. All of them don't know what to do as the business grows and what happens to their equity. And they can keep pushing the principal shareholder and the management to say that, provide me liquidity. But the guy is saying, I'm running the business, I don't have any money in my pocket to provide you guys liquidity. And at the same point of time, I yet don't want to go ahead and raise large sums of money because the business does not require. So what do you do? In that event, the SME exchange comes forward. It becomes a transparent mechanism, and lots of people will find an ability to exchange value for what they have.
Sure. Okay, Deepak, if you're talking about where it is today, you said that business models need to evolve. What do you think needs to change, or how do you see it evolving in the Indian context? Clearly, the top-rung investment bankers will not really be jumping at this idea, but maybe tier 2, tier 3 will be the ones who will make this work.
Correct. So if you look at it from an investor standpoint purely, I mean, what is the investor asking? One of the main things that he's asking for is there enough transparency in the way an SME conducts its business, or any company conducts its business? Right, today I find it a little baffling when we say that, look, only when the investor comes, we have to provide them with reports, right? I mean, why can't this be a part of your ecosystem? I mean, that's not the way the West thinks, right? So governance standards that we talk of in India is completely different when you talk about governance standards elsewhere, right? That's one of the points. The other one is from an investor standpoint. Again, why should an investor invest in your company? Right? How are you different from any other manufacturing company? How are you different from any other .com company? Right? So what is your business model? How is your business model different? I mean, are you effectively reaching out faster to your customer? Are you helping him to reduce his cost? I mean, what is it that you're doing differently? So we need to take all these things in perspective before we say that whether an investor is going to invest or not invest in your venture or in your company.